Good morning, YouTubers. This is the Roaming Prepper. It is the 21st of February, 2021, and this year already started pretty bizarre, much like last year. So today we're going to do our Sunday SITREP, some stuff that hit me from various sources regarding activity in the world. And keep in mind, like I've mentioned in one of my earlier videos, pay attention to geopolitics because that kind of stuff bleeds into us. Those of us who watch geopolitics saw COVID-19 before they knew what it was brewing in China, in Wuhan, and then in Beijing. And people started realizing if you were paying attention to the geopolitics, that something wasn't right. So we're going to do that today. We're going to kind of go through a few more obscure things that hit my radar and apparently are legitimate. So let's see what we got here. Hang on just a second. Okay, so first and foremost, we've Microsoft News, Bloomberg. Apparently, we've hit 500,000 COVID deaths in the U.S., which is unfortunate. I don't know what the truck with snow has to do with anything, but yeah, they're saying we've hit 500,000 deaths. They don't specify how many recoveries or what the ratio is, but it looks like we may, according to Dr. Fauci and some of the other sources, will be, quote unquote, approaching a degree of normality at the end of the year, toward the end of 2021. But in any case, guys, something to think about. It's still out there. It's still being a pain in the butt. Take appropriate precautions. Not everyone's sold on the vaccines and the way that we're done. Wash your hands, don't lick doorknobs, stuff like that. But it's still out there, still causing trouble, and still on the news. Also, as now that the cold snap in the U.S. has passed us, we all witnessed the Texas grid kind of collapse. It was designed to recover from hurricanes and tornadoes, not a week-long cold spell with rain and snow and ice everywhere. They point out people died in their bedrooms, vehicles. A lot of the deaths were due to people trying to heat their homes with the wrong thing. And this picture is a perfect example, heating with a stove. And some folks may not have had a choice, unfortunately. People were using generators in their garage and not leaving the door cracked. That's going to create carbon monoxide. Look at where you suffered if you lost power, if you had a problem this last week or 2 weeks, and fill those holes now. Okay, hurricane season's 60 days away, and we're probably going to see more fun then. So fill up those gaps now. Pay attention to what's going on. So let's hit the geopolitics now. We've hit the COVID and the domestic stuff. Ecuador, go figure. Ecuador had a far-right president who was a populist. He took power. He had no seats in either house of the legislature. He came in as an independent and won. He beat both parties. They're going to be holding an election here shortly over the parliament in that country. And lo and behold, the election is delayed. Who knows why, but the election's delayed, and people are kind of pissed off about it. They like the guy. Apparently he's doing good stuff there. So they can't decide what's going on. And people are getting upset. They've taken to the streets. There've already been reports of fights. This was from several news sources, including some State Department stuff, public sector stuff that I saw. So if you're traveling to Ecuador, to South America, a couple of the countries are having elections, and there is some instability there. So pay attention to that if you're traveling around. Remember, if you're in an international place that's not your home country, keep your passport with you, and then keep a photocopy of that passport locked either in your hotel room or in a hotel safe. The more reputable hotels overseas, the Hiltons, the big Holiday Inns, the Marriotts, will have a vault, and they will kind of like a safe deposit box for each room. You can put your valuables there. Also, keep the number of your hotel handy. If you get arrested, if you get quarantined, whatever, you can at least call the hotels. The hotels have people who will engage in protocol to contact your consulate and start getting you help. Also, sometimes the manager of the hotel will know the local police, and that helps a lot. That helped me out in Argentina during a riot. I started getting text messages from my hotel and my corporate security team that, hey, dude, there's a riot like 2 miles from your hotel. And I happened to be having a beer on a patio when that text came in. So I took my beer and went to my room because I just didn't want to be part of that in a foreign country. The Argentinian police kind of shut it down pretty quick, but still, you never know. Here's another one. And also, they're going to have a leftist versus a nationalist. So you're seeing this extreme left, extreme right type of politics is playing out in a variety of countries this year. But let's finish up with the big highlight, the China Sea. Right now, China, while we've been distracted internally with our election, the EU's been struggling with COVID. We have a situation where China has basically claimed, and this is from The Economist, this particular map, they've basically claimed, let me get that whole section of the South China Sea. So let's back up here. Essentially, they've decided that everything here, and normally I believe international waters is 20 miles or 20 nautical miles from your landmass. They've decided all of this belongs to them. So these red bases, China's actually filling in and building anti-aircraft, anti-ship, and airfields on these islands. So Taiwan said, screw you, we can do that too. China has already nearly got in a shooting match with gunboats with Vietnam, according to one source. So these guys, while we've been distracted and COVID's pretty much ravaged the West, they've been pushing against Malaysia. They've been pushing against Vietnam, the Philippines, Taiwan, which I find ironic because China supported the Vietnamese government during the Vietnam War, and they can't stand each other now. Hanoi has actually normalized relations with the U.S. Because they're kind of scared these guys are really pushing their weight around. Another source, oh, doggone it. Well, I had that source and then they closed it on me. Never mind. I don't want to see that. Oh, I hate when they do this to me, guys. Sorry. All right. So, according to CNN, and again on a couple of different reports, the USS Russell actually steamed 12 nautical miles from one of these islands. Apparently, I would think it was Mischief or Hughes Reef. So this was well far from China. It was actually in Philippine and Malaysian waters, which neither country had a problem with. They were more than 20 nautical miles offshore, and China went on alert on these bases. These bases do have anti-ship capability, some of them. So there's going to be a problem here, guys. A large percentage of the trade in the world, especially in the Pacific, goes through these countries. I mean, look at all the nations that we import from. This is something to watch for, guys, because if we get into some kind of even economic tension, food shortages, production shortages, you're going to see clothing, other stuff starting to dry up because they're going to put an embargo on us, so we'll do it to them. The economies of the world have not quite recovered from COVID yet, and they're causing a bunch of trouble here. So pay attention to this kind of stuff, guys. This stuff can bleed over. Again, Ecuador, not so much, but China, most definitely. And even if you're traveling in South America, there's still a lot of instability as nations come into 2021 and try and level off. if you had holes in your preps during the freeze here in the States or during COVID, now's the time before China and the US or China and the EU get into some kind of trade war. Get what you need now while the prices are reasonable. No guarantees it'll be like that later. In any case, thanks for checking in. This is a Roaming Prepper. If you could like and subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. And be safe if you're traveling, Godspeed, and be ready. Pay attention to what's going on. Take care, guys. Bye.